So when I saw the school bus pull up, I realized, okay, I don't want to get on there because there's no seatbelts. And that's when I realized I'm really into social justice. And I told everyone about it. And while I was back at school waiting for all my friends, I created a petition. Teachers helped me. I just told them I'm angry and they said, why? And they helped me through the different emotions. And from that petition, I started connecting with politicians, learned about safety, and grew into that.
Education is the foundational tool to change the world, and we definitely need people who can take this mission forward. Today, at our head office, we have somebody who is taking this mission forward and making all of us proud. We have with us Rochelle Prasad. She is an educationalist, she's an author, and she's also a social entrepreneur. And of course, there are more things that we'll be talking about, like her association with the UN and how she has been acknowledged and recognized by the topmost level of the government. Thank you for coming here, Rochelle.
And thank you so much for having me. This is so great.
Yeah. So are you excited about the interview?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. To talk to community members from Metro Vancouver, specifically my hometown, Surrey, anytime.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming here. We want to take it a bit backward. We want to know how it all started. Like, was there something that intrigued you when you were a kid, or why such big goals in life? Like, what intrigued you? So that's
start from the top. So my ancestors, they were indentured laborers from India to Fiji way back before my parents were even born. And then my parents were born in Fiji. And during the 90s, there was a government takeover in Fiji. And they came during that season to Canada. And when they settled here, they were immigrants. Of course, as PICs, you know a lot about immigrants and refugees. And there were people that needed resources, that needed support. And they were able to get some sort of resource and support, and from there build from the ground up. And I know that a lot of immigrant families and first-generation Canadians, we have this in common, where our parents just worked so hard throughout their whole life to build the life that they have. My parents have a wonderful roof over their head. They have a dog. They have 2 daughters that I hope they're really proud of. And they have cars, ways of being. And just seeing all this and the hard work that they put in throughout their whole life to give me opportunities to succeed, it just gave me a little bit more motivation when I was a young age to say, okay, I need to add to this legacy. My ancestors have been through so much. It's my turn to show them a way forward.
That's amazing, and that's brilliant to hear from a youth herself. But then back again, because you were inspired from your parents, but why education? Because there's a couple of other topics, the world needs. Of course, one of them is education, but why you chose education?
Yeah, right on. Good question. I could have chose climate justice, or gender equality, or like agriculture, anything. But the reason why I chose education is because in grade 3, when I was really young in elementary school, I went to Synergy Elementary. And we used to do assignments on social justice issues in our community. We used to go on field trips and big cookies for firefighters, things like that. And along these field trips and community service and volunteer things that we did, I realized that I just really liked talking to people and making friends and taking care of other people. So I had this giving spirit that my parents gave me, and I'd love to do that in the community. So through volunteering through my community, I realized that, wow, I really like teaching and taking care of other people, making sure they have what they need. So I was looking at career paths and things I could do for the community, and realized that, all right, so teaching is great, giving back and volunteering is awesome. I also have skills in public speaking and maybe bringing people together, and realized that, oh my gosh, becoming an educator is something I need to look into.
So you started liking that.
Yes.
And then probably you thought of starting a non-profit of you.
Yes, yeah.
Which is Spark, right?
Yes, you got it.
So when did your journey start? So was it grade 4th, you said?
Grade 3.
Grade 3rd. Was it that when your journey started?
Yes, it was when I realized that there's so many gaps in our education system okay, I'll tell you a story. So in grade 3, we were going on a field to Science World, and in British Columbia, when we go on field trips, it's a yellow school bus that picks all the kids up, etc. So in the news, the same week we were going on the field trip, a bus flipped over on Patella Bridge, and unfortunately a lot of students were injured because they weren't wearing seatbelts in their school bus. So when I saw the school bus pull up, fast forward a week later for that field trip, in my tiny child knowledge, I realized, okay, I don't want to get on there because there's no seatbelts. And that's when I realized I'm really into social justice. And I told everyone about it. They didn't let me go on the field trip because I was causing a commotion. They told me to stay back. And while I was back at school waiting for all my friends, I created a petition, got it signed by everyone.
Age?
I was in grade 3, so this is 7.
7 years.
Yeah.
So you created a petition at the age of 7.
Yes. Teachers helped me. I just told them I'm angry, and they said, why? And they helped me through the different emotions. And from that petition, I started connecting with politicians, learned about safety, and grew into that. So going back to your other question too, is I think teachers as a mentor and learning advocacy since a young age brought me to Spark Foundation.
Amazing. So when did you start the Spark, and why did you actually start it? Because I understand that all of this happened and then eventually got into, social justice part of it. But maybe some more light on Spark.
Of course. So Spark Foundation started when I was in grade 10, so about 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
And it was because of a trip I took. So I've been volunteering from elementary school advocacy into high school. And then I took a look at the world around me, and I realized I didn't know anything about any social justice things that was going out there. I wanted to learn and see and explore the world. You know how you're really curious at a young age? So I wanted to try that. And I asked my parents, can I go to Kenya, to Ecuador? And can I go see the world? And they're like, of course you can. You can't go because, of course, I come from an Indian household and they're not just going to let me go, right? And so I had to convince them. I said, okay, here's an organization I can go with. I signed up with a volunteer organization to go to Ecuador and Kenya.
I see.
I went on these trips. I built a school with my bare hands. I learned hard work. And I also learned from the communities I was there from, both in Ecuador and Kenya, about what education is like, what resources are lacking, what resources I'm also lacking back home, how we can help each other. Came back from these trips, and a huge common thread was education inequality. That's how Spark was born. So that's what Spark does. We reduce barriers to higher education for K-12 youth.
So why I'm asking you all of those questions, because we somehow think that, when a kid is enrolled into a school, they go to the school, that means now they'll be educated. When they pass the 12th grade or they go into the colleges, that means they're educated. When they do their postgrad, that means they're educated. But I think that's not the thing. Maybe our definition of education is wrong, right? Maybe education is not about which grade you are in, but it's more about, do you know about this?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about it? Maybe talking. So maybe you got there at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
Very young age, very young.
Yes.
And because at that age, kids are probably thinking about which vacation should we plan with their parents, right? And here you're planning vacation all by yourself and, helping people outside your country.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big achievement, Rochelle. Now let's talk more about, how do you feel about it? I mean, how did you take care of your mental health all this while? Probably you're around 25 or so right now.
Yeah.
And you, some people just start working at 25, and you have big achievements and accolades on. So how did you take care of your mental health all this while?
Love this question. It's really rare in interviews to get asked this, but my mental health has taken a toll along the years. I'll kind of explain some career steps and I'll tell you what happened. So from Spark, I went into university, got my degrees, went into a political election with Brenda Luck and the Surrey Connect team, which was another massive milestone. And from there, my mental health kind of deteriorated a little bit. And I realized it was because I was prioritizing my community instead of myself first.
Yes.
And it's something that after I got married in 2023, till now, I'm realizing that, okay, I can't help anyone else if I don't help myself. Yeah, so along the way, I learned time management. Now I'm learning more about health and well-being for my own self and making sure I take that time to, sure, drinking water is great, but also, did I get outside? Did I do some breathers today? Practice mindfulness? That's what I'm doing right now.
So that's something that you're doing. Is there anything that you want to specifically tell the youth?
Yeah, have big dreams. Don't let the community around you tell you who and what you can be. Please don't be afraid to charter those big dreams. There's little small steps you can take to accomplish anything you like. Either, I'm from Surrey, and I know there's a connotation around here that says if you're from Surrey, you can't really explore the world or you can't grow big. Well, that's incorrect. If I can do it, you can do it. And remember that age does not matter when it comes to making a difference. Also, mindfulness. Practice a little bit of mindfulness every day. Journaling, drawing, reflecting, whatever it is, it'll help.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. There's one more question that popped up. It's more about your, again, personal.
Yeah.
But because you got married just 2 years ago, now you have a new family and maybe new responsibilities. How is your the other half, the better half? He's managing things with you.
Yes, this is.
I know that's a question for him, but you have to answer.
Oh no, I'll answer this one. He is the best person I could have ever found in the whole entire world. There's this thing about, okay, so in my culture, Fijian culture, there's two ways marriages can go: either arranged or you pray hard enough that you find someone along the way. And for me, it was kind of both. We met at SFU. I was giving a keynote that day, and he was there with an organization, and we kind of just met through eating and networking at a buffet line, etc. And the reason I'm telling you this is because by chance we met, and along the way we realized that he's really into, also backtracking, he is a mastermind in technology. He helped create the new Model 3 that just came out, headlights, interior design. He helped launch the iOS beta when he used to work with Apple. He helped create Optimus, the hands and the feet on the robot, and test. So he's done so much at a young age too. And both our synergies just combined. So we're both really strong achievers, self-starters, and changing the world in our own way. So we understand each other, and we're both entrepreneurs in our own way.
Now talking about politics, we know that we might see you someday as a politician. So because I read your Instagram posts, I remember a few months back, and you're trying to get into this. But we also, on the other hand, see that people and youth, they don't consider politics as a good thing to go into. So what are your thoughts about it? Because here we're trying to encourage kids, telling them that there are multiple options, nothing is right or wrong. Maybe it's wrong for somebody and right for the other. So maybe with your feedback, it could change.
Yeah, one of the slogans I have in my life is, if not who, then like, what are we doing? Then me, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I ran for the municipal elections too. I didn't see anyone up there on council that looked like me or was a youth or someone I could get along with. So I said, no one else is doing it. I got to do something about it. And same thing with the federal elections. I had intentions to run, but I'm going to be super honest with you. As a youth, financially, it's super hard to run for politics. But for youth that want to get involved in politics, my best piece of advice for you is to connect with people that are great mentors for you in this space, as well as be aware of all the good, the bad, and the ugly to do with politics.
I see. So that means there is a pushback as well.
Definitely a pushback, yeah.
Okay, so that we didn't know about it.
Yeah.
It's always good to, interact with people who are actually doing work on field and they know it.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming to Pix. And we were trying to plan this video from a very long time. But I still have a lot of questions, but of course otherwise this is gonna be a very long video. So I'll let the viewers comment below with the questions that they have for you, and probably we can have you for a part 2 interview with their questions, and we'll see you then.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming over.